students. Today we are going to learn about learners with physical disabilities and multiple disabilities. As we had learned earlier on, this is one of the categories of learners with special needs in education. Physical disabilities includes that which may make difficult for learners to overcome or manipulate physical environment and interact freely with others. Here, what we mean by interaction or interfering with them, with the environment, we have physical activities which we always do. For example, when we are walking, when we are writing, when we are standing, that is a physical activity. So any weakness or any interference with any physical activity, this is classified under physical disability. Now, one of these conditions which affects physical disability or is a physical disability is amputation. Amputation is any condition whereby the limbs are missing or are reduced in size. For example, my aunt, if I'm missing one finger or two fingers, that is amputation. If I'm missing the lower part of my aunt, that is amputation. If I'm missing the whole aunt, that is amputation. Amputation here, the person who is with this condition of amputation is called amputee. Is called amputee. And when you look it well, or when you examine, you'll find that the individual cannot manipulate the environment if he has a part or there is any interference with his physical formation of the body. Whether it's the environment, because in the environment you have to move. When you are in class, you are writing. So by missing any finger or part of your hand, you may not write as expected. Then there are two types of amputees. We have congenital amputation. Congenital amputation is whereby you are born missing a part of the limb. And acquired is whereby you miss a part of the limb or the whole limb after birth. So those are the two types of amputation. And these two types of amputation, they affect or they interfere with learning in our schools. Because if it is the upper extremities, the hands, because we call them the upper extremities, when you are writing, if they are missing, you not write the same speed like those with their full hand. And if you have one leg which is either paralyzed or amputated, you will not be walking effectively, or you will not be effective in time management in taking your lessons. And even in some of the subjects which you are supposed to cover, like physical education, playing of games, sports, you may be affected. So this is why we learn about physical disabilities, because this, you are going to meet them in the secondary schools where you are going to teach. You'll encounter some students without limbs, whether the lower limbs or the upper limbs. All the limbs may be there, but they may be paralyzed. That is, they may not be effective. They may be not functioning fully. That is what we mean by amputation. So it's up to you as a teacher, when you are in a class, to make sure that you assist this learner with amputation, with a part of the limb which is missing. And there are those gadgets which are used, prostheses, which are used for such learners in schools. Medically, they are taken to hospitals and they are fitted with these gadgets, and whereby they function, although they don't function fully as the limb is supposed to function, but to an extent they function, because the main theme of special needs education is to make the learner independent as much as possible, to be self-independent as much as possible. Now, the other one here, which another condition, is learners with the brittle bone disease. Brittle bone disease is an inherited bone disease characterized by defective development of the quality and the quantity of the bone. Our bodies are structured or are formed by bones. The bones are the structural support of our bodies. So any defect or dysfunction or missing of any part of the bone may affect learning. This condition, which is called brittle bones, is when you talk of quality and quantity, it means that the bones, they break easily because the quality is very poor. Because quality is the one which determines the effectiveness of any bone. The way it is structured, the strength is strength. So that is the quality. And then when you talk of the quantity, is the bone, is it made with the correct elements, or with the correct ions or minerals which are supposed to make that bone so that it is effective, so that it is just normal, it can function normally like the others. Then here, when you talk of this, we say the bones, they fail to grow into normal length and width. They are weak, soft, and fragile. That is fragile, it means they can break any time. Just to slide and then you fall, that can be a fracture, can make a fracture. The other one is, the other condition or category of learners with physical disabilities is neurological disabilities. And here, when you talk of neurological disabilities, this includes the central nervous system, the functioning of the central nervous system. And it is good for us first to understand about neurological disabilities, as it refers to paralysis or lack of function, dysfunction of the brain. It means the brain is not, and the central nervous system, there is a dysfunction. It's not fully functioning it is supposed to be. And here's where I want to emphasize that the brain is the center of all activities of the body. All activities of the body are distributed or are controlled by the brain. And then the actions, the activity which we do are transferred by the nervous system. For example, when, like now I'm standing, my ability to stand is controlled by the brain. So if that part of the brain which is supposed to control my ability to stand, if it is not functioning as it's supposed to function, I will not be able to stand the way I'm standing. Either I will not be able to stand with my 2 legs and firm as I'm standing. Another one here in this category of neurological disabilities here is epilepsy. Epilepsy, this is a condition of the brain where the brain is affected, and it is characterized by fits. Normally we have seen some people who fall down. When they fall down, those who are around, you see them either running away because they think it is contagious. It is not contagious. And we have different names of epilepsy in different vernacular languages. Every community has a name for this. Some they associate epilepsy as from witchcraft, of which it is not. Others curse. Somebody either was cursed by the parents or somebody is possessed by demons. But in real sense, it is a brain dysfunction. And another one here is the Celebra Posse. The Celebra Posse is also permanent damage of the brain. Celebra Posse is permanent damage of the brain. And this is congenital. You are born with this condition of Celebra Posse. It's not curable. It does not become worse or does not become better, but it is manageable. It's manageable through medical intervention. Then we have hydrocephalus here. Hydrocephalus, which is a condition of accumulation of water in the brain. That is brain. Accumulation of water in the brain, expanding the skull to be large. Expanding the skull to be large. And this accumulation of water in the brain suppresses the brain. And then by suppressing the brain, because it's accumulating on top of the brain, it damages different parts of the brain which control different functions of the body. And this condition of hydrocephalus is treated through surgical or medical, whereby the operation is done and then a tube called shunt is inserted above the brain, whereby to drain the water. As the water is accumulating, the water is also drained away. Now this, even polio, which is another condition which affects motor, this is movement of our bodies, and this one is caused by a virus which affects part of the brain and then causes either paralysis or dysfunction of part of the brain. Now here we have the characteristics of learners with epilepsy, as I've explained them here. We have those characteristics which include extreme convulsions, seizures. Others, they collapse, they fall down, they lose consciousness. Others, they may shout or emit or gargling sounds, be unable to control saliva, and to an extent lose bladder, that is bowel control. Somebody either urinates. Now, learners with multiple difficulties. Now, these are learners with multiple disabilities, are those ones which have more than one disability. As we learned earlier on, we saw that we have different types of disabilities. We have mental disability. We have also seen the visual impairment. We have also seen the deaf-blind and physically handicapped, and even the hearing impaired. So any learner with more than one disability, that is called a mental disability. Sorry, it's called a multiple disability. Any learner with more than one disability is called multiple disabilities. And this may include, you may find that a learner or a child is there, he has a hearing impairment, and at the same time he is physically handicapped. Either is missing a part of the leg, or is mobility, or is paralyzed. Or you may find that a learner is physically handicapped and at the same time is mentally handicapped. Or a learner is deaf, is not hearing, and at the same time the learner is blind, that is deaf-blind. Deaf-blind. Now, another category of learners with special needs are those children living under difficult circumstances, under different circumstances. And here, learners living under difficult circumstances, by one reason or the other, they exist in these conditions, but they experience a lot of risk, which affects their learning in learning institutions. So children under difficult circumstances may be classified under several groups. Some of these, we have the street children. The street children. Later we are going to see how many types of street children we have. We have also child laborers. Child laborers, these are also children who are below 16 years here in Kenya, but they are doing some work in exchange for wage or for payment, is employed. In Kenya is classified under 16 years. But according to the International Labour Organization, a child labor is classified under 15 years. Then we have also children who are refugees. The children who are refugees, these are children who are in the refugee centers. They have turned the refugee centers to be their homes. They are not in their real homes. So these children, in real sense, they are missing something because they cannot play freely. They cannot interact with the environment freely as those who are in their home environment. And the other one is children who are orphaned. Here in Kenya today we have so many orphans, either because of traffic road accidents, because of HIV and AIDS, because of one reason or the other, but orphaned children, they are there. So they are living also under difficult circumstances because they cannot turn to somebody and say, this is my mother, this is my father. While those with parents, in case of anything, for example, if they are chased from school, they are told to go home. They are either going to a guardian who is either a brother, a sister, or an aunt. That is the orphans. So most of the time you find that orphans, they are classified as living under difficult circumstances. Then we have also child mothers. Child mothers, these are children below age who by one reason or the other, they get children. When they get children, you find this is a child, and the child is also having a child. Both are children. And they have to take care of this young one, the baby. And then the mother has to be taken care of by the parents. In such a scenario, you find that such children, they are also classified under this condition, under risk or under difficult circumstance. Then we have also children from deprived and rich families. Children from poor families, they are also classified under risk or difficult circumstances because they are missing a lot of their basic needs. So since they are missing a lot of their basic needs, when others are going to school, those are from economically well placed families. Those ones from deprived families, poor families, the term we use, you find that they are still missing some of the requirements needed in the school. For example, if they are books, you find that they are missing some of the books, or payments which are done in school. So from time to time, you find that they are being chased from school to go to their parents so that at least they get the money which is required. And sometimes they go to school without food, and they are there to learn with those who took a meal in the morning. And you find that category, that scenario makes these children from deprived families also to be under difficult circumstances. And even uniform, you find sometimes, because the uniform, they buy the uniform, sometimes their uniform is not up to the class of that institution. Then children from rich families, yes, they have also their challenges. Those children from rich families, because of the economic placement of their families, they have everything they need. So with that aspect of having everything which they need, some of them may not be willing to attend schools, or they may be involved in drugs, or they may be involved in delinquency. That is missing schools, missing attending classes because of without apparent reason. So as well as those who are from deprived families, they are affected. Even those from rich families, they are also affected. And this we have witnessed, we have seen it within the communities where we come from. Then the other one is children aiding families. There are those children who are deserted by their parents. Either if it is a single mother, she has left the children there, nobody to take care of them. So the firstborn or the oldest takes charge of to be the head of the family. She starts doing those activities and the chores which are done by the mother. And some of the parents, they abandon their children. Either they go to the market or they go away even for more than a day or 2 days and leaving their children at home. There is no food, nobody is responsible. Those are the ones we call children aiding families. One child becomes the head of the family and has to take care of the other children. And still, that child has to go, they have to go to school just like any other child. So you find either they are missing school because there was no food, or there was nobody to prepare them to go to school, or they are missing the basic requirements for them to attend school at home. Then we have also child soldiers. Child soldiers are those children who are, by one reason or the other, from those countries, war-torn countries. These war-torn countries are like countries like we have witnessed that in southern Sudan, and even in Somalia, our neighbor here. We have seen children who are captured, who are taken, even from school, to go and to be trained how to handle guns, how to be soldiers. Those are the ones we call child soldiers. And then we have also children from pastoralist communities. And these are, when you talk of children from pastoralist communities, this like the Maasai people. The Maasai people are always moving in search of grass with their herds of animals, with their families. They go together with their families. Now these children, they leave the schools they have been studying. Once there's no grass, they move with their parents to the next area where they will get grass for their animals. So by this, you find it interferes, as that movement interferes with the learning or education of the children. Now, then, here we want to talk to this group of children who are called groups of children living under different circumstances. And here, these are the children now who are in the streets. We have 4 types. Earlier on, as I had said, we have 4 types of street children. One, we have street children who we call children on the streets. And these are the children who maintain good family ties while out there. In fact, they leave their homes in the morning, they go to the streets, they loiter in the streets, and they do all sorts of things done in the streets. And then in the evening, they walk back to their parents. That is children on the streets. They have no particular home, but they have a particular home, but they leave to go and live in the streets during the day. Then we have also children of the street. These are children with loose family contacts with their homes. So most of the time you find that they come, they stay in the streets either for 2 days or 3 days, and then after that they go back to their families. They may be with their families for a day or 2 days, and then they go back, they retreat back to the streets. Those are the ones which we call children of the street. And then the third category are children who are completely detached from their families. And these children we find them in the streets there. These children in the streets, of the streets, who are completely detached, they are staying there in the streets with the other children. And then the third one, last one is children of the street families. These are children, in this group of children, these are children who have been born in the streets and they stay in the streets. Those are the ones which we call children of the streets. And they know the street as their home. They have nowhere where they can go and say, this is my home. So that is the 4th category of street children. Then let's see causes of impairments. We have different causes of impairments here. We have prenatal causes and prenatal causes of impairments. These are causes which may cause a disability before birth, and these are like use of drugs and also exposure to X-rays, also premature birth, low birth, and even poor diet may lead a child to be born with a disability. And then we have also exposure to poisoners. Postnatal, this is after birth. After birth, we have so many causes which may cause disability. For example, exposure to poisonous agents, diseases, also misuse of drugs. Also, we have road traffic accidents which happen. Like these days, we have so many with the border, because border, every now and then, almost in every part of the country, there is a lot of accidents which are happening. So many accidents which are happening. Now these accidents, they contribute to causes of disability. And then perinatal causes. This is during birth. During birth, there are the causes here. Premature birth may lead to a special need. And also breech birth may lead to a disability. And also head injuries may lead to disability. That is during birth. These accidents which happen during birth, either the mother, the expectant mother, is giving birth where either she's alone or not in a safe place. That environment may contribute to a disability, an injury which will cause a disability. And that is the end of our lecture today. I wish you the best, so you can go through the notes and see what we have done since we started all the categories of learners with special needs. This is the end of the unit BSE4219, Introduction to Special Needs Education.
These televised lectures supplement our robust online learning going on our MKU online platform. You can view more on our televised lectures via our online platform. We are in a digital era, and Mount Kenya University knows this. The following program is rated PG. It may contain scenes unsuitable for children under the age of 10. Parental guidance is advised.